The T-Series starred and became a sensation online. But that day, I proactively gave the male lead role to my brother. Vivian, the CEO, spent hundreds of millions to compensate me. She was satisfied, thinking I was very generous, so she signed each transfer agreement. As she was about to sign the divorce agreement I had hidden, Vivian felt a strange unease. As if, after signing, she would lose something. At this moment, I asked the system about Vivian's affection rating for me. The system said fastly reply, 99 points. Just 1 point short. You will receive your wish reward from the transmigration mission. So, what was her affection rating for Arthur? 88 points. He smiled bitterly. Take me back to my original world. I don't need the reward anymore. The request had been sent. You can leave this world in 1 month. Master, please reconsider. You can change your mind at any time. Good, thank you. My thoughts drifted back to the past. I wasn't from this world. I was brought here by the system, which told me that if I could make anyone in this world achieve a 100-point affection rating for me, I could return to my original world with 1 wish granted. I had a very important wish to fulfill, so I took the mission seriously. Initially, I wanted to win over the Scots, my parents in this world. But not all parents love their children. They not only didn't love me but were also incredibly cruel. Just as I was despairing, a smooth, pale hand pulled me back. I saw a tall woman in a cold white dress standing defiantly in front of me. Later, I learned that this woman, Vivian Jian, was the most respected CEO in the entertainment industry of High City. She coldly ordered her assistant to handle the situation. The investors immediately pulled me away. Before leaving, Vivian handed me a business card. I also own an entertainment company. Mr. Scott, you might consider it. Her eyes were cold, but a subtle smile played on her lips, making her appear gentle. Our fingertips brushed accidentally. My heart skipped a beat. After signing the contract, I discovered that Jian Entertainment Group had only me as its artist. Vivian used all her resources to promote me, finding the most professional teachers to train me. I once asked her why she was so good to me. She just gently caressed my face. Some people, once you see them, you never want to let go. After the premiere of my first starring role, Vivian proposed marriage to me. You're still in your developing phase, so we'll keep it private. Though it was a secret marriage, we held a romantic wedding just for us. We embraced and kissed under fireworks, each whisper of my love deep and fervent. Seeing the love in Vivian's eyes, feeling my heart stir, I was certain we loved each other and decided to make her my target for the mission. Very quickly, Vivian's affection rating for me reached 99 points, but that last point never progressed. I thought Vivian had taken 99 steps, so it was only natural for me to take the final step. I poured my heart into it, treating Vivian exponentially better, even beginning to hesitate, unwilling to leave. After successfully completing the mission, would I really have to depart? But 5 full years passed, and Vivian's affection rating for me remained unchanged. I couldn't understand it. Until that day, I cancelled my schedule and returned home early. As soon as I reached the door, I heard the Scots' voices. He's just a replacement. At first, we played along with your act to save him, just to cheer you up. But you insisted on marrying him. Now that our Arthur has returned, what should we do? Although they are both our sons, Arthur is our pride and joy. We can't let him suffer any disadvantage. Everyone else is completely unimportant. I froze. When I transmigrated here, this body had suffered a shock and lost some memories. I vaguely recall having a biological older brother named Arthur Scott, who had always lived abroad. It seemed the Scots weren't incapable of love, they just reserved all their affection for Arthur. Inside the house, Vivian was silent for a moment before saying, back then, Arthur left without a word. I didn't want to experience that sense of loss again, so even if he was just a replacement, I wanted to give him a proper status to keep him by my side. Vivian, I was too arrogant, wanting to leave you and see the world, but I'm tired now, I want to settle down. Hearing a clear male voice, I unconsciously took a few steps closer and saw Vivian's usually calm face filled with tenderness and sorrow. Arthur, if you're tired, then come back. You once said you wanted to enter the entertainment industry. I opened an entertainment company for you. Now, continue to come back and fulfill your dream. Arthur sadly said, oh, come on, you say you opened the company for me, but there's already an artist. Vivian explained. Full of anxiety, you know, he looks a bit like you. I only considered him a replacement, which is why I signed the contract. He can't compare to you at all. But you two are married now. Don't you understand my heart? How could I change husbands? But there's only one Arthur in this whole world. I stood silently in the hallway. Watching Vivian and Arthur look at each other with affection, recounting their longing after separation, and their joy upon reunion, I suddenly understood that all those sleepless nights, the person she thought of in her heart was Arthur. I was merely a means to love another man, and even their appearance. What I thought was ultimate salvation was nothing more than a calculation. No wonder I couldn't achieve it no matter what I did. I suddenly found myself ridiculous. A replacement, dreaming of being loved 100. If Arthur is back, you two should be together again. The Scots eagerly suggested. The atmosphere in the house was harmonious and warm, but just a few steps away, my heart felt utterly cold. Vivian's and Arthur's faces drew closer and closer. I dared not look further, deceiving myself as I fled. It wasn't until late at night that I returned home, wanting to ask Vivian how she intended to handle this three-person relationship, but she wasn't home at all. On Arthur's very first day back in the country, she had rushed out and stayed away all night. The next day, I went to the company and saw Vivian enter hand in hand with Arthur. Arthur Scott is our newly signed artist, and a key focus for training going forward. Everyone, please pay him extra attention. Arthur smirked at me. Long time no see, my good little brother. Thank you for taking care of our parents in my absence. And a special thank you for looking after Vivian for me. Otherwise, I truly wouldn't dare to imagine how sad she would have been all those days without me. His words were seemingly ordinary, but full of provocation, almost explicitly implying that I was merely his substitute. The staff were all surprised, awaiting Vivian's reaction. Vivian, however, did not refute him. Arthur, you reminded me. You two have similar styles, which would be redundant. From now on, Ethan, you should change your development style. Any style is fine, as long as it clearly differentiates you from Arthur. This clear discriminatory treatment made everyone understand her attitude, and it also sent a chill to the bottom of my heart. Thereafter, Arthur, leveraging the favoritism, continuously usurped my resources, my endorsements, my variety shows, my acting roles. I once resisted. Vivian, however, accused me of being selfish, and unilaterally decided to give everything to Arthur. Even though Arthur already had an assistant and a manager, he still wanted to take mine. Vivian, upon hearing this, said without thinking, "It's never wrong for a newcomer like Arthur to have more help. As for you, you're idle anyway, so there's no need to waste human resources." Having been in the industry for 5 years, I had accumulated quite a few fans. Vivian then instructed the department to use the excuse of my poor health requiring rest to silence the fans. Don't you know how much winning this role means to Arthur? You're his family, aren't you happy for him? Intentionally hiding here and showing this attitude, who are you trying to impress? I only felt cynical. It turns out that someone unloved doesn't even have the right to be sad. I calmly spoke up. I clearly aced the audition, but you invested in replacing me with someone else. It's only natural that I'm not happy. Hearing this, a fleeting look of guilt crossed Vivian's face. Arthur immediately approached. So in your heart, this brother of yours is just an outsider. I must have done something wrong to make you dislike me, right? His feigned aggrieved look filled Vivian with immense sorrow, and when she faced me, her expression was no longer kind. Ethan, you even want to hurt your own brother. You're truly cold and selfish. If you're not sincerely happy for him, then you're not welcome here as you once were. With just a few provocative words from Arthur, Vivian lost her reason. In front of all the guests, she dismissed me, completely disregarding my discomfort. But I wasn't heartbroken and agitated as usual. I simply turned coldly and left the banquet hall. Noticing my unusual demeanor, Vivian was slightly startled, feeling that something wasn't right. "Vivian, come with me to drink with the director," Arthur said with a smile, touching her arm. Vivian then pushed aside the strange feeling in her heart. As soon as I got home, I saw that the trending topics were bustling. There were all sorts of rumors about their affection for each other, making netizens collectively exclaim dog food overdose and express extreme envy. There were also posts about me, Ethan, love and career with her. Vivian and I had originally had a secret marriage, so the situation was almost entirely one-sided in mocking me. They said I wasn't working now because my confession of love had failed, and I was frozen out, or that I was plotting to become a sugar baby. Such trending topics would appear occasionally. Vivian never clarified anything, leaving me to be swept into the eye of the storm. I turned off the screen and quietly printed out the divorce agreement. Since I had decided to leave this world, I needed to be decisive. I would also initiate the account deletion process. After I left, this world would no longer have me. The next morning, I called the relevant department to inquire about account deletion. Learning that the procedure could be completed 1 month after registering on the Citizen Convenience website, I immediately completed the registration. Very good. Just at that transition, I'll be leaving right on time. Leaving what? Vivian's voice came from behind. I turned around and saw that Vivian, who hadn't come home all night, had returned with Arthur. I casually replied, I saw a bird flying away outside the window. It's gone. Hearing this, Vivian let out a soft, inaudible sigh of relief. Of course, your family is all here. Where could you possibly go? I only felt cynical. This world's family was indeed all here, but no one loved me. Fortunately, I was about to return to my real family. Vivian instructed the servants to pack luggage. Noticing my perpetually indifferent expression, a strange feeling flickered in her heart. She couldn't help but explain. Arthur, you just won the male lead role. You need to maintain exposure. I'll go with him to some recently popular tourist spots. We'll take a walk. Arthur smiled and embraced her. Director Jian really cares about her employees, doesn't she? What a good boss. Vivian gently patted his chest. Of course. At this moment, Arthur lightly coughed. Vivian immediately asked anxiously, is your throat uncomfortable? Or are you thirsty? She stopped a servant who was about to pour water, saying, I can do it myself. Arthur, what do you like to drink? You don't know. A series of fluid movements, clearly indicating frequent practice. But such attentiveness was something I had never received, whether in life or career. Vivian had never treated me like this. Diang Entertainment was one of Vivian's many subsidiaries. Previously, when I was the only artist, she rarely inquired, leaving everything to the team, saying that professional matters should be handled by professionals. After Arthur joined, she handled everything herself, acting as CEO, even more dedicated than a secretary. The water is delicious, Arthur smiled. I was a bit lost in thought. I recalled that after we got married, I had also suggested we cook together, feeling it would be warm and could foster affection. Vivian, however, had refused without a second thought, saying she hated cooking smells, saying she was a dignified CEO, how could she go into the kitchen? But now, she was happily doing it. It turned out she wasn't unwilling to cook. She just didn't want to cook for me. This was probably the difference between love and not love. Ethan, are you very jealous of me? When Vivian was not present, Arthur shit his pretense. The man's eyes were clearly full of malice, but even jealousy was useless. Because you're just a replacement, you can never have Vivian's love, so I don't understand, how long do you want to keep this position? I chuckled coldly. If you want the position so badly, tell her to propose divorce to me. I've already prepared the divorce agreement, I'll definitely cooperate. These displays of happiness didn't provoke me. I just wanted to quickly finish the last task. My profession in this world was acting. Initially I was pushed into it by the Scots, and then to avoid disappointing Vivian. But what I truly liked was not acting, but screenwriting. After accumulating some experience over the years, I wrote a script myself. Short films were popular now. This was a short film based on my own story, titled Ethan is No Longer Alone. The production cycle for short films is very brief, 1 or 2 weeks for completion. Before leaving, I also wanted to leave something meaningful behind. I worked very efficiently, quickly assembling a team, just waiting to go home, pack my bags, and start filming. As soon as I entered the house, I heard a lively commotion inside. Vivian, Arthur, and the Scots were all present. When they saw me, the smiles on everyone's faces vanished. Then the Scots, who had always been indifferent to me, rarely greeted me amicably. Have you eaten yet? Vivian even handed me a box with a tie clip. I saw this during a trip, and thought it suited you. I quickly recognized that this tie clip had once appeared on a trending topic. At that time, Arthur had simply said he liked it, and Vivian had bought out the entire stock of tie clips from the accessory store. This was the only one he had rejected. What's wrong? Don't you like it? Arthur asked with a half-smile. The sense of superiority in his eyes was almost undisguised. Vivian's gaze turned cold. You're being picky. I remember you used to like anything I gave you. She was right. Before, I treasured anything she gave me, but only because I loved the giver. Now, never mind something someone else didn't want. Even if she plucked stars from the sky and gave them to me, I wouldn't like them anymore. Very well. I was too lazy to say more, casually putting away the tie clip, my mind solely on the upcoming film shoot. Seeing my calm demeanor, Arthur was surprised. The trending topics had been up for so long, I couldn't have missed them. Yet I wasn't angry or heartbroken, as if I no longer cared. Vivian also noticed this, and her heart suddenly tightened. She felt that something was amiss. Just as she was about to ask, Arthur tugged her sleeve. He also gave her a meaningful wink. Vivian then remembered the main reason for today's gathering. She looked at me. That short film you're preparing recently. Arthur really likes it. This time, give it to him. I looked at her in disbelief. Previous resources Vivian forced me to give up, I grudgingly accept it. But this time, it was a script I wrote myself. A team I built myself. Even this, Arthur wanted to steal. Seeing that I wasn't happily agreeing, the Scots served me food as if bestowing a favor. It's such a small matter. Just agree, don't argue with your brother about everything. Arthur has suffered a lot. What does he want now? We're family, it's normal to help him achieve it. It was then I understood that when people truly have nothing left to say, they laugh. I laughed sarcastically. Arthur's suffering wasn't caused by me. A script is like a child to a creator. I won't give it up. Arthur lowered his eyes and sighed. I know my little brother doesn't like me. Maybe I shouldn't have come back. He pretended to leave, but Vivian grabbed his hand. Her eyes were icy, looking coldly at me. Arthur has shown this script to people in the industry. It has great potential, so it must be given to him. You are an artist of this company. You must follow arrangements. Otherwise, I have the right to freeze you. Fine. Then freeze me. Seeing that I was neither soft nor yielding, the Scots grew more impatient. Vivian, don't be polite with this damn kid. We are his parents. We know what he's afraid of. Let us handle this. That's right. Just you wait. He'll be crying and begging Arthur to take his film in a moment. No time for that. Mrs. Scott began to command the servants. Go outside and catch some cockroaches, as many as possible, and also some live rats. I'm most afraid of these things, Mr. Scott added. I trembled as some lost memories flooded back. In the past, whenever the original owner of this body was even slightly disobedient, the Scots would verbally and physically abuse him relentlessly, then force all sorts of disgusting creatures into his mouth. After being subjected to such prolonged torture and training, the original owner became extremely obedient. It was hard to imagine such biased and cruel parents existed in the world. The servants were very awkward. The house was very clean, so these things couldn't be found immediately. Vivian, however, actively supported it. Then go outside and find them. No matter how troublesome, you must find them. A flicker of joy and malice appeared in Arthur's eyes as he pressed close to Vivian. Vivian, you're so good to me. The people before me seemed united against a common enemy, wholeheartedly. I suddenly realized it wasn't necessary. This script was originally adapted from my experiences with Vivian. Now, I could no longer deceive myself. Even if Vivian's affection rating for me was 99 points, I was ultimately just a worthless replacement. This was not my love story with Vivian. It had ended badly long ago. The script was ruined. Not worth fighting for alone in this world. Instead of enduring all the bitterness, being forced to submit, it was better to let go now. I agreed, I conceded. Everyone should have been happy. Arthur, however, was still not satisfied. Ethan, you just said the script was like your child. And now you're giving it up so easily. Don't you have some ill intentions? Vivian also warned. Whatever you're thinking, it's best to say it. Don't do anything dishonorable. It's truly too much. Meanwhile, I thought of the divorce agreement I hadn't yet signed, and an idea flashed through my mind. Of course, I have conditions. If you want my hard work, then exchange it for something else. I listed a series of houses and shops, then asked Vivian, you care so much about my good brother. So exchanging some of this property for a script he likes, surely you won't begrudge it, right? That one sentence successfully halted Vivian's hesitation. Of course not. Anything that can be solved with money is not a problem. Vivian made a phone call, and very quickly, her secretary brought a stack of transfer agreements. I took them, having clipped the divorce agreement in between. Seeing Vivian about to sign, Arthur's heart seemed to bleed. Vivian, spending so much money for a script is not worth it. The script is just an excuse. He's just used to stealing my things. Who would have thought Vivian would concede hundreds of millions in assets without batting an eye? If he had known the price would be so high, he wouldn't have tried to steal it. Vivian, misunderstanding, said, fool, of course it's worth it, as long as Arthur is happy. She signed each agreement, and as she was about to sign the divorce agreement, my heart tightened slightly. Just then, Vivian looked up and saw my tense expression. That strange feeling returned, even making her inexplicably worried, as if she would lose something after signing. She flipped back a page, unconsciously wanting to check the contents. I don't want to cause trouble, but are you not willing to give it up? Didn't you say your brother was valuable? The provocation was very effective. Vivian gave up on inquiring further and continued to sign, though a mocking look was in her eyes. Ethan, you used to think you were above petty disputes. But I guess you're just like that. This greedy appearance is truly sickening. With that, she finished signing the last agreement, and I didn't react at all. She took the agreements upstairs, and I remained completely calm. Vivian's heart inexplicably tightened. She felt I was hiding something from her and was about to chase after me to ask, but Arthur grabbed her hand, his fingertips lightly scratching her palm. "Thank you. Vivian, you must be disgusted with him now. Let's go out to eat." The Scots immediately understood and said, "The problem is solved. We should go too. You two enjoy your private world." Arthur didn't hesitate, taking Vivian's hand and walking out. He secretly vowed that he would definitely claim Vivian tonight, definitely have a real relationship, and ideally, have a child. That way, Vivian wouldn't refuse him anymore, and they would get married. In the following days, Vivian was busy accompanying Arthur as he filmed the short film. I'd also lived a very full life. First, I submitted the divorce agreement to the Civil Affairs Bureau, successfully obtained the divorce certificate, then converted the properties and shops into cash, and established the Thanviat Charity Fund, simply as a small contribution to accumulate some merit. In my original world, I had a pair of parents who loved me very much. Unfortunately, during a health checkup, I discovered I had an incurable disease. In a moment of distress, I ran out and ended up in a car accident, losing both my legs. My parents cried their eyes out for me, rapidly aging and wasting away. So, when the system found me, I immediately agreed. If I succeeded in the mission, my wish was to return to my original world with a healthy body. It was a pity that I was always 1 point short. Thinking about returning, facing a disabled body and limited time, I put on some glasses and a mask and began to travel around, observing everything. Days when I could run and jump like this were especially precious to me. Just like that, time passed until the last day before my departure. I had originally planned to go sailing to see the seagulls but received a call from Vivian's assistant. Assistant Chen said, "Vivian wants you to attend a party to discuss a new film and a new role. You're leaving soon. What role could possibly matter anymore?" I refused without hesitation. Assistant Chen awkwardly said, "Director Jiang said courtesy before force. If you don't agree, I can only..." I smiled bitterly, recalling being forced to transfer the script, and also remembering that my first meeting with Vivian was at a party. Starting where it began and ending there, it could be considered a full circle. I pushed open the door to the private room, only Arthur was inside. "Ethan, how long are you going to cling to Vivian? The person she loves is me. Do you know how many positions we changed last night?" Seeing the topic turn indecent, I coldly interrupted. "Did you intentionally invite me here to say this? It's actually unnecessary, because after tonight, I'll be leaving." "Of course, it's not just that." Arthur gave another cold laugh, the malice in his eyes like a venomous snake flicking its tongue. It was truly sinister and chilling. "I think a person should rely on themselves instead of waiting for you to make way. It's a bit safer to drive you away personally." From outside, a muscular, very large man walked in and suddenly pinned Arthur's hands. His actions were very gentle, yet Arthur cried out pitifully, "Don't hit me. I won't fight with you anymore, okay? I'll keep my feelings for Vivian in my heart. Don't let them hit me anymore." Just then, the door was violently pushed open. Vivian, her eyes red, rushed in. "Let go of him." Upon seeing Vivian, the queen of the business world, the man quickly released his grip. "Vivian, thank goodness you came to save me." Arthur clung tightly to her. "When Ethan invited me out for dinner, I was so happy. I never expected him to hate me so much." I instinctively explained. Assistant Chen informed me to attend the party. Assistant Chen's face was full of surprise. I only followed Director Jiang's orders. I wouldn't do anything she didn't instruct. The temperature in Vivian's eyes dropped to freezing point. Without further verification, she looked at me with utter disgust. "Can't you stand Arthur? I already warned you, if you bother Arthur again, I won't let you off." She coldly ordered the filthy man. "What were you going to do just now? Do it to him." The air seemed to freeze. I only felt a chill pierce my heart. Vivian looked at me as if I were an ant. "Last time you pushed Arthur, you still haven't apologized." Arthur, concealing a smug smile, slowly spoke. "You have to kneel to apologize to show sincerity." I bit my lip tightly. Vivian indifferently watched my distressed appearance, then coldly parted her red lips. But an apology is an apology, and punishment is punishment. Bothering Arthur comes at a price. At her instruction, Assistant Chen whispered a few words to the man. The man nodded obsequiously. "Don't worry, it will definitely be done." My heart sank. As the door closed, I saw Vivian leave without looking back, and Arthur's triumphant smile. My dead heart was submerged in despair. There were clearly only 2 hours left until I disappeared from this world. Why couldn't they spare me? The man punched and kicked me, even slapping my face hard. I was beaten until my vision blurred, the metallic taste of blood exploding in my throat. I could only repeatedly call out to the system. Master, I just consulted with my superiors. Due to the emergency, a special channel has been opened for you. If this body dies, you can leave early. I looked at the open window, calmed myself, and slowly stepped back. As my back touched the window frame, I leaned out tragically and decisively, my entire body falling from the 23rd-story window. Falling from such a height would be incredibly painful. I was clearly terrified, yet there was a faint sense of peace in my heart. No matter how much it hurt, it wouldn't hurt as much as the wounds Vivian inflicted. Fortunately, everything would finally end. As I fell, the wind shrieked past my ears. The stars in the night sky tonight were exceptionally bright. I remembered the day Vivian proposed, how she had held my arm and told me I was the most precious gem in her life. It was all a lie. From now on, we would be people from 2 different worlds, no longer connected. In the moment before I hit the ground, I seemed to hear Vivian's heartbreaking cry, and also the system calling out, Vivian Xiang's affection rating has risen to 100 points, mission complete. No way. I knew it was just an illusion. With a thud, the stars vanished, and I closed my eyes, embracing the darkness and a new life. Vivian, holding Arthur, left, comforting him the entire way. Yet, despite her seemingly caring words, the indifference and perfunctoriness in her eyes were too obvious. So clear that Arthur squeezed his palm tightly, his heart sinking with the elevator. Vivian, I'm in so much pain. As soon as Vivian heard this, she helped him out into the hotel lobby. Instead of getting into the back seat of the car, Arthur kept pressing his face against her neck and shoulder, deliberately exhaling suggestive breaths. But despite his attempts at seduction, Vivian remained unmoved. She just coldly said, Assistant Chen. Assistant Chen, sitting in the driver's seat, heard this, and immediately opened the surveillance camera on his phone, respectfully handing it over. That's the surveillance footage from the private room. At this moment, the man was beating me. Arthur felt a surge of satisfaction, but pretended to look reluctant, even pleading. Maybe that's enough. Even if Ethan treated me like that, I wasn't really hurt. Vivian's face remained completely calm, her eyes like still water, unreadable. Not to that extent. I had my limits. Before leaving, she had told Assistant Chen to instruct the man to merely threaten me a little. But that was all. This was just a small punishment for me. Vivian disliked jealous men, believing that after this, he would learn to restrain himself. Seeing her resolute expression, Arthur found it amusing in his heart. According to his understanding of Vivian, she probably only told the man to pretend to scare me a bit. But he didn't know that the man suffered from intermittent explosive disorder, and in just a little while longer, he would completely lose his mind. The man's blows grew heavier and heavier. My face became swollen. A hint of worry flickered in Vivian's eyes. She vaguely felt something was wrong, even something was spiraling out of control. She hesitated for a moment, then intended to get out of the car. Arthur immediately pulled her back. Vivian, thank you for avenging me. That man also hit me just now. If he hadn't come to save me, it would be me being treated like that now. Vivian had placed her hand on the car door but then withdrew it, thinking that ultimately, I had gone too far, and receiving a more severe lesson was deserved. Besides, I didn't need to work recently, so even if I got injured, resting for a while would heal it. Vivian missed the only chance to prevent this tragedy. She coldly continued to watch the surveillance footage, watching me go from initial panic to increasingly desperate eyes. Vivian's heart inexplicably felt uneasy. She had clearly only intended to teach me a small lesson. Vivian couldn't bear to see me hurt any further. Assistant Chen, go there. That's enough torment. Yes, Director Jian, Assistant Chen replied verbally. The car door was already open, but he glanced at Arthur out of the corner of his eye as if waiting for something. Arthur's heart suddenly clenched. He had painstakingly set up this trap. He couldn't let his efforts go to waste. He quickly interjected, Wait, Assistant Chen, I'll go with you too. Vivian frowned. What are you going for? Arthur's voice was a mix of admiration and sadness. Ethan is so talented, he clearly isn't using actual force, yet his acting is so realistic. My acting skills have always been inferior to his. I lack talent and must compensate with effort. I want to go to the scene and observe his performance. Vivian got out of the car, which was parked just outside the hotel. She had only taken a few steps when she saw something fall from a high window. One glance, and she recognized it was a person. It was me. I was falling, face up, from the 23rd floor, as if struck by lightning, leaving her utterly stunned, her soul leaving her body. Vivian ran like a madwoman towards my falling body, with only one thought in her mind: to catch me. She absolutely had to catch me. Having received elite education since childhood, she naturally understood that catching someone falling from such a height could very well be fatal, but her steps didn't falter, nor did she hesitate. A strange, unprecedented emotion, like a vast net, enveloped and squeezed her heart, making it almost impossible for her to breathe. In her ears, she seemed to hear a notification, saying something about affection rating 100 conquest. Whether it was an illusion or not, she didn't care. She only mustered all her strength. Vivian spread her arms, calling out and running frantically towards me. She still had so much she hadn't had a chance to say to me. The feelings she had just acknowledged, the reason she had been cold to me before. She wanted to tell me everything. She had given in. She didn't want to test me anymore. She wanted to offer me all her sincere, unreserved affection. But it was still one step too late. Boom. She watched me fall right in front of her, just a step away. In that moment, her heart, like a frozen lake, shattered into a million pieces. And I, falling from such a height, was truly mangled before her eyes. Passers-by gathered one after another. Some screamed, some vomited, some called the police. Vivian ignored them. At that moment, she heard nothing, saw nothing. In her eyes, there was only my bloody corpse. Vivian didn't care at all, lying down close beside my body. She reached out and gently took my broken hand. Look how bright the stars are tonight. Let's watch them together, Ethan. Do you remember? I once told you that you are the most precious star in my life. Everything I said was heartfelt. Vivian completely changed her usual cold demeanor, rambling on and on. More and more people gathered around. The person who jumped seems to be the recently frozen actor, Ethan Scott. The woman beside him is director Ji-young from their company. Didn't they say Ethan was director Ji-young's sugar baby and she hated him? But I see she seems to love him very much. She's gone mad from his death. Oh my god, look, isn't that Arthur Scott coming over? He seems to be a couple with director Ji-young, right? I've been following their stock on Hot Search for a long time. Your circle is really complicated. Okay, the dead are paramount, don't say any more. Wait for the police. Arthur staggered closer. Initially, when he saw me jump, his eyes were full of excitement. He only wanted to teach me a lesson, who knew that now the person was gone, completely unable to compete with him anymore. But Vivian's reaction was too terrifying. At this moment I was almost completely disfigured, unbearably gruesome. Vivian, however, didn't care at all, just lay beside me, letting the blood and yellow, white bodily fluids cover her. She even held my hand, talked to me, and even kissed my face. Arthur didn't understand. He was just a replacement. Why was Vivian so intensely agitated? Vivian, no matter how Arthur called out. Vivian acted as if she couldn't hear him, only talking to me. Very quickly the police arrived to conduct a basic investigation and took away the filthy man. Arthur and Assistant Chen exchanged glances, the latter quietly making an odd gesture. Arthur was no longer worried. Assistant Chen was on his side and would naturally handle everything well, so he wouldn't be accused later. Assistant Chen. Vivian suddenly stood up. Seeing her expression gradually return to normal, Arthur breathed a sigh of relief. He knew my weight wasn't that significant. She was just startled earlier. It will be the same reaction again, right? But Vivian's next words made him feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Ethan is asleep. Find someone to help him up and take him home. Be gentle, don't let him break. Ethan's face is dirty. Find a makeup artist to help him. I want him to be as handsome as before. And then make an ice bed. Ethan needs a good night's sleep. Assistant Chen was stunned for a moment. Don't just stand there. Hurry up. Yes, Director Jiang. After giving instructions, Vivian gently sat down. Ethan, wait a little longer. We'll go home soon. Her Ethan was angry and ignored her, but she was cold to me because Arthur was suffering internally. Tonight, she would tell me everything. After knowing the truth, her Ethan would surely forgive her. After a flurry of activity, Vivian finally brought me home. Director Jiang, I've looked into it. The ice bed isn't sealed. Only this type of model can keep Ethan by your side always. Assistant Chen said carefully, afraid of agitating Vivian, specifically avoiding the term ice coffin to emphasize keeping Ethan by me always. Good, well done. Vivian, fortunately, didn't notice and, on the contrary, praised him for once. Assistant Chen breathed a sigh of relief, only then realizing he was drenched in sweat. Now, with the ice coffin in the living room, the temperature was extremely low. One cold, one hot, he shivered. Then, Director Jian, if you need anything, just call me. Assistant Chen carefully retreated, leaving the villa. He saw Arthur about to enter. Brother, if Director Jian finds out we colluded and indirectly caused Ethan Scott's death, what will be the consequences? Assistant Chen had also thought that Vivian only saw me as a replacement, so for career advancement, when Arthur returned he had unhesitatingly sided with Arthur. It was just Vivian's unexpected reaction today that made him a little worried. Arthur frowned and interrupted. No, you just need to ensure that man doesn't expose you. Vivian here is just agitated. Once I'm by her side, she'll forget that replacement. That's good, then we'll have to rely on you, Arthur, from now on. Arthur nodded proudly. He walked in step by step, feeling emotional. He and Vivian were college classmates. Back then, she was an arrogant heiress, and he was a campus heartthrob who disdained the wealthy. Everyone fawned over him, flattered him, but he never gave them a good look, never indulged them. It was this different attitude that attracted Vivian's attention, and she even began to pursue him. After many attempts, Arthur reluctantly agreed. Because the Jian family was a wealthy clan, while Arthur came from a very ordinary family, their relationship was opposed by the Jian family. Vivian was then willing to break ties with her family, saying she wanted to move out and live with him. Arthur, don't worry, no matter how hard or difficult, I'll be by your side. We'll be full of love, even if we only drink water. Arthur looked at the small room Vivian wanted to rent, almost rolling his eyes. He didn't want to live that kind of life. Just then, a wealthy young lady pursued him, inviting him to go abroad with her. On one side was a struggling life, on the other, a vast world of glamour and romance. He unhesitatingly chose the latter. Who knew that not long after Arthur went abroad, a disappointed Vivian returned to the Jian family, and began to take over the family business. Arthur wanted to come back and find her then, but unfortunately, he was kept by the wealthy young lady. It wasn't until the following year, when the wealthy young lady was completely tired of him, that he finally returned to the country. Initially, he was very worried that Vivian had forgotten him. After all, with her family background, she could easily have anything, let alone men. The Scots then bragged to him. Vivian hasn't forgotten you. Arthur, you went abroad, but we, as your parents, thought it better to have Vivian as your backup. She was so sad about you then, getting drunk every day. So we told her you had a younger brother. Although he's inferior to you in every way, he at least looks a bit like you, and his personality is weak and easy to control, very suitable as a replacement to alleviate her sorrow. Don't worry, Arthur, Vivian could never forget you. The only slight inconvenience is that Vivian married him, but this also proves that she loves you very deeply, clinging tightly to your replacement. Hurry back. Arthur obediently listened, his heart filled with joy. After he returned to the country, Vivian not only didn't blame him for leaving without a word, but treated him better than before. Perhaps this was it. Having lost once, she cherished more. But very quickly, Arthur felt something was wrong. Vivian only loved him superficially, but there was no real progress with him. She even refused to marry him. Arthur also suspected that she might have fallen in love with me, but quickly dismissed it. When he and I had conflicts, Vivian always protected him. She had truly never sided with me, so she probably only cared that he had once left without a word. Now, merely losing a replacement, Vivian was so distraught. Arthur knew this was an opportunity to force her to recognize her feelings and welcome him back. Thinking this, Arthur confidently entered the living room. Because of the ice coffin, the temperature had dropped below zero. Arthur was so cold that he hugged his arms, goosebumps all over his body. But Vivian was only wearing a dress, seemingly unaware of the cold. She just sat silently opposite the ice coffin, not saying a word, looking at the person inside, her eyes full of irresolvable sorrow and tenderness. Vivian, no one wanted such an accident to happen, but you have to be strong. You'll catch a cold like this. It will make those who care about you worry. Like me. Initially, Vivian remained indifferent, then forced a smile. And, I know Ethan loves me, and I love him too. I'm just staying by his side. Don't disturb us during these last days. Arthur was stunned, then sat down beside her, reaching out to embrace her. Vivian, please don't be angry with me anymore, okay? The person you love is clearly me. I give up. I was wrong before for not recognizing your goodness, but now I'm back, and I'll cherish you. Let's truly reconcile this time. Ethan is dead. You can't leave him in the living room like this. Let's handle his funeral. His mission as a replacement is complete. Vivian, who had been indifferent, forcefully pushed Arthur away. Enough, Ethan is not a replacement. He's my husband, the man I love most. What happens between him and me is none of your business. You're not welcome here. Get out. Arthur painfully clutched his arm. But Vivian, who usually inquired anxiously if he felt even a slight discomfort, didn't even spare him a glance. Arthur had to stand up on his own, his heart filled with rage. Vivian, can you please stop tormenting me? How can you possibly love him? He stopped all his schedules for me, gave his roles to me. Whenever he bullied me, you severely punished him. You even used hundreds of millions in assets to buy him a script for my sake. You've done so much for me, always choosing me over him. And now you tell me you love him. Don't you think that's laughable? Vivian, can you wake up? Can you admit what's in your heart? We love each other. Arthur grew more and more agitated as he spoke, disregarding everything and lunging forward, trying to kiss Vivian's lips. But Vivian's eyes were full of disgust. She raised her hand and slapped him. In front of Ethan. You're already so eager to do something so shameless. What I regret most is letting Ethan misunderstand that I didn't love him. Arthur was dazed by the slap, reaching up to touch his mouth, even feeling blood at the corner of his lips. The person who hit him showed no remorse, didn't even spare him a glance, only gently walked step by step towards the ice coffin. Ethan, do you know? Actually, I accidentally fell in love with you, and your love for me a long time ago. How could I not feel it? It's just that when Arthur left me that year, it was a very strong blow. And you were brought to me in such a way. I was worried that your love for me wasn't pure, worried you had other intentions, so I never dared to open my heart. After Arthur returned, I was actually very happy because the hurt from that year, I could finally return to him. I've always been a very proud person. I once offered my heart to Arthur. For him, I didn't even hesitate to confront my family, but he didn't even have the courage to suffer with me. The day he left, I felt a deep betrayal, which also left a thorn in my heart, even making me feel like I was ill, no longer capable of loving someone. So after he returned to the country, I tried every way to treat him well, only to lift him up to the highest point and then stomp him underfoot, to make him understand what loss feels like. Only then could I truly let go. Ethan, I didn't lower my guard with you back then, so I thought, why not pretend to be good to Arthur while also taking the opportunity to test your love for me? If you truly loved me, you wouldn't abandon me because of my coldness, my favoritism. I punished you not because you hurt Arthur, but because I didn't like the jealous streak in you. I only wanted you to be more perfect, to become better. When I saw you fall, I finally knew how much I loved you and knew that I couldn't leave you. If I had known, I wouldn't have been so harsh on you. As long as you're happy. You can take out your anger on me, Arthur, however you want. I was wrong. Ethan, can you forgive me? Can you open your eyes? Can you look at me saying I love you with my own lips? Vivian spoke emotionally, finally almost sobbing. Hot tears rolled from her eyes, while Arthur listened in a daze, his heart completely frozen. Vivian had spoken very clearly. It turned out she no longer loved him, only sought revenge. It turned out she had loved me. He was too accustomed to his parents' favoritism, accustomed to trampling me underfoot. Besides jealousy, Arthur only felt humiliated. But he was unwilling, truly unwilling. Vivian hated him, but without love, how could there be hate? Ethan Scott was dead, but he was still alive, so he still had hope. Arthur quickly thought of a plan. Vivian, even if you hate me, it's okay. This is your saddest moment. Can I be by your side? Arthur changed his tactic, speaking thoughtfully, but Vivian just coldly glanced at him and waved him away. The servants immediately carried Arthur out the door. Director John, it's so cold now, please put on more clothes. Yes, if you keep this up. Never mind catching a cold, your body won't be able to handle it. The servants, already in thick down jackets, couldn't help but advise Vivian, but she impatiently told them to be silent. Finally, one servant said, you might not be cold, but Mr. Scott will be cold. How about you both put on more clothes? Vivian then paid attention, saying, right, Ethan is wearing thin clothes, he'll definitely be cold. Quickly contact his favorite brand, and have them send the latest winter clothes. I want to personally choose the most beautiful set for Ethan to wear. Just like that, Vivian spent several hours fussing over the body in the ice coffin, dressing him in an outfit she found beautiful, only then reluctantly putting on a thick coat herself. Seeing her remain seated before the ice coffin, unwilling to leave, the servants again advised. Mr. Scott would surely be heartbroken to see you working so hard. How about you rest first? Vivian immediately stood up. Ethan, don't worry about me, I'll listen to you. I'm going to rest now. The servants exchanged surprised glances. Now they all knew, from now on, Mr. Scott's words were the most effective decree. How strange. Director Jian clearly hadn't cared much about me before, but now that I was gone, she had become so deeply affectionate. Early the next morning, Vivian instructed her assistant to make an official announcement on the company's website, stating that she and I had been married for a long time, emphasizing that Ethan was her husband, her only love. Additionally, She initiated a lottery sharing event to amplify the influence and let everyone know that Ethan was hers. Vivian gave meticulous instructions, and very quickly, public opinion reversed. Arthur, once admired, was now suspected of being a third party who destroyed her marriage with me, and he was boycotted by the entertainment industry. Vivian smiled contentedly. Ethan, see. I've given you justice. After that, she became busy. Busy buying my favorite osmanthus cakes from the east of the city, buying my favorite beef soup from the west of the city, and ordering a great deal of luxury goods all at once, piling them up in front of the ice coffin. Ethan, smell how fragrant it is. Can you wake up and eat a little? And these things all suit you very well. Ethan, can you look at me? Vivian persistently called out for a long time, but the person in the ice coffin showed no reaction. Her emotions gradually began to break down, then shifted to remorse. Ethan, although I gave your resources to Arthur before, I had already thought that after everything was over, I would compensate you with even more resources. I never intended to actually hurt you. At that time, your parents said they would make you eat insects. I only pretended to agree, just to scare you. Then you proposed exchanging properties and shops for the script. I agreed so quickly, not at all because of Arthur, but because you can have anything you want. You always thought I was cold to you, not even letting you touch my phone. But actually, my phone password was changed to your birthday a long time ago. Ethan, I was truly wrong. Can you open your eyes? Please. Vivian's emotions completely spiraled out of control. She cried silently, pushing the ice coffin with her hands. If you don't want to wake up, then I'll come to you. In short, we can't be separated. Director Jian, a servant came in holding a package. Get out, don't mind me. Vivian, like a small animal on the verge of collapse, screamed, tears streaming down her face. There's a document here for Mr. Scott. The next second, Vivian rushed over and snatched the document. It was a document from the household registration office. Vivian opened it directly. Inside was a receipt. After clearly seeing the contents, Vivian stopped in astonishment. The receipt stated that my application for household deregistration had become effective. The signing date was yesterday, the day I jumped and deregistered my household. Vivian immediately became furious, calling the household registration office. You've made a mistake. Ethan Scott is my husband, the husband of the CEO of GN Group. How could he deregister his household? The staff on the other end said, please provide your ID number. I am. To confirm you and Mr. Ethan Scott are husband and wife, we can provide you with the transaction number for this service. A moment later, after inputting the ID number Vivian provided, the staff on the other end apologized. Done, according to the system, you divorced Mr. Scott 2 weeks ago. Currently, you and he have no relationship whatsoever. I apologize. We cannot accept your inquiry. Vivian laughed hysterically in anger. Is there some mistake? How could Ethan and I be divorced? We just went public. We're very much in love. We'll be together forever. You wouldn't understand. She hung up the phone. Vivian's anger had not subsided. She told her assistant to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get their marriage certificate, wanting to take the certificate to the household registration office to clarify. They arbitrarily deregistered her husband's household. It was simply outrageous. This must be a mistake and there were. But very quickly, the assistant returned with news like a bolt from the blue. Director Jian, I've checked. The records show that Mr. Scott actually divorced you. The assistant also brought back a copy of the divorce agreement. It couldn't be faked. It had her signature. Vivian looked at it in shock for a long time, then suddenly remembered that day when she asked me to give Arthur the script I wrote myself. I proposed exchanging it for a series of assets, so she signed many transfer agreements. Thinking of my suddenly tense expression at that time, Vivian could almost confirm that I had slipped the divorce agreement in among those papers. I had been in despair since then. Vivian ransacked the house and quickly found the divorce certificates, a total of 2 green booklets that made her uncomfortable. What made her even more uncomfortable was that I hadn't taken either booklet with me. Vivian was almost swallowed by deep regret. If she had known it would hurt me so much, she definitely wouldn't have done it. Vivian's face was extremely grim. She truly couldn't understand. Even if I wanted a divorce, why would I deregister my household? A person who deregisters their household in this world no longer has proof of their identity. I clearly asked for many things. If I deregistered my household, those assets would no longer belong to me. Wait. Vivian suddenly remembered. She trembled as she told her assistant to check. Very quickly, there was a result. These valuable items, along with the assets I had requested from her earlier, were all donated to charitable organizations. I took nothing with me. Vivian felt more and more that something was wrong. Everything I did was as if I had planned it all along. I had accumulated enough disappointment, had decided a long time ago, wanted nothing, and disappeared from this world. Vivian clutched her head. It seemed a truth was emerging from behind the fog. She racked her brain for a long time, finally remembering a detail. When I jumped, she disregarded everything, rushing towards me with outstretched arms. Beside her, a slightly robotic voice seemed to sound, saying words like affection rating, 100 conquest value, and similar phrases. Following this clue, Vivienne researched many documents and gradually formed a hypothesis. A seemingly unbelievable hypothesis, but one that might be close to the truth. I seemed to have connected with a conquest system, and it was that system that helped me leave. Vivienne had a moment of heartbreak, broken for herself. Perhaps I was just a mission to her, but immediately after, she felt a glimmer of hope. If her hypothesis was correct, it meant I had only gone to another world. I was still alive, and as long as I was alive, there was still a chance for them to meet again. That forcibly paused love would one day restart. Vivienne regained her composure and made two decisions. One, to preserve my body in the ice coffin, because she wasn't sure if I needed this body to return. Two, to invest a large sum of money to establish a research institute, gathering special talents to research the system. She knew that doing so would be a very slim hope, but as long as there was a glimmer of hope, she would persevere. Because she still had so much she wanted to say to me. She absolutely had to meet me again, to bring me back to her side once more. The moment I hit the ground, I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, my hand felt a soft, pleasant warmth. It was Mrs. Scott holding my hand. Mr. Scott sat beside me, holding a report. So happy. Ethan's health checkup report is here. Our precious son is perfectly healthy. I was slightly stunned. Memories of my previous life flooding back. Clearly, that report had shown I had an incurable disease, and sadness immediately enveloped the entire family. First, I couldn't bear the shock myself, ran out, and got into a car accident, losing both my legs. My mother cried every day. She didn't believe in gods or Buddhas, but knelt all day, praying for a miracle. My father even spent a huge sum of money hiring the best experts in the world, begging them to cure me. With such a large career, he no longer had the heart to manage it, only wanting to be by his beloved son's side. They quickly withered in age. This was also the reason I unhesitatingly agreed to the system's mission. I had to complete the mission to regain my health. Not just for myself, but for my loving and loved family. But the system clearly said that only upon successful conquest could the wish be granted. Was that last notification true? That's right, Master. Just before you left that world, the affection rating of your conquest target, Vivian Jian, reached 100. Therefore, your wish has come true. She is currently full of regret, immediately announced her relationship with you, and is trying to compensate in every way. If Master wishes, you can still go back. Due to time dilation, even if you spend decades there, it will only be a few minutes here. Previously, Master most wished that the two of you could love each other. Does Master wish to go back? I was slightly startled, then smiled. But that smile, no matter how one looked at it, wasn't joyful. It carried a hint of sarcasm. When I was alive, Vivian didn't cherish me. Now that I'm dead, she regrets and compensates. But what's the use? No need. I just want to stay with my family. Master is reluctant to leave your family, so you can also bring Vivian Jian here. Master has completed the mission. Master has this right. Vivian Jian has already guessed a little that Master has gone to another world and is constantly researching ways to contact you. She believes she won't refuse to come here. She has done many outrageous things to Master, so why not let her come here to repent and compensate? Master can also vent a little. But I refused. To me, that's already in the past. Don't tell me about her anymore. Seeing my firm attitude, the system expressed respect. All right, Master. Our cooperation has come to a successful end. From now on, unless there's a special situation, I won't disturb you again. Wishing Master a happy life. Goodbye. The connection with the system ended. I regained my senses but found my parents looking at me blankly. It was clearly their son. But why, after just a few seconds, that my demeanor changed so much, as if I had experienced much suffering, endured much torment. Just this thought made the Scots feel immensely heartbroken. Looking at their loving eyes, I suddenly felt a lump in my throat. This pure care and love had truly been too long for me. Without hiding anything, I told my parents about what I had experienced. Afterwards, I was immediately embraced in two warm arms. Why, Ethan, you've suffered so much, Mom's heart itches so much. Why didn't the system come to us? That's right, let your mom and I conquer each other. I conquer your mom, and your mom conquers me. Wouldn't that be two successful conquests? And we could make another wish. Yes, yes, yes. One wish is, of course, for our Ethan to be healthy. The other wish is for Ethan to be happy forever. The Scots talked back and forth. I was originally a bit sad, but couldn't help but laugh. My parents were both very extroverted, their personalities even a bit jumpy. That's why I had always been very happy and bright before. Those 5 years of transmigration felt like a dark cloud hanging over my head, making me lose myself. But fortunately, it was all over. Now the clouds had parted, and I saw the sun. The days ahead would all be sunny. Our Ethan is truly blessed by heaven. He's turned danger into safety. So we must do more good deeds. First, donate 200 million. What do you think, dear? I think it's good. At the auction in 2 days. Let's just buy everything so Ethan will be less scared. The Scots tightly held my hand, discussing animatedly. They were self-made. Currently, the Scott family's empire was vast, and what they had just mentioned required no effort at all for them. In the following days, the two of them were always by my side. Under the nourishment of love, I gradually found myself again, gaining the strength to start anew, and began writing a script. This was something I wanted to do in the previous world but hadn't finished. Very quickly, I completed my first script in this world. A story with elements of redemption and rebirth. Afterwards came forming the team, casting actors, filming, and other stages. Ethan, just say which actors you like, and Dad will bring them here. Looking at Mr. Scott's assurance, I chuckled. Dad, truly talented actors value their reputation. You can't just use money to persuade them. Moreover, I want to do the things I like myself. Let me try, okay? If there's any problem, you must find me. I smiled and agreed. I had made a preliminary list, choosing talented actors whose reputations weren't yet too massive, thus increasing the chances of successful negotiation. For my first destination, I went to an entertainment company as scheduled to talk to the female lead candidate in my mind and her manager about the script. I pushed open the conference room door but was surprised to find Lily Ye, the top actress of the entertainment company, sitting inside. I instinctively thought I had entered the wrong conference room, apologized, and intended to leave, but Lily Ye stood up and walked towards me. Her slender, pale fingertips were holding the very script I wrote. I heard screenwriter Scott is choosing a female lead. I really like this role. I recommend myself. I looked at her with surprise and joy. She had a naturally gifted face, perfect features with a hint of coldness, but the smile in her eyes revealed a touch of gentleness. If one disregarded all other factors when choosing a female lead, Lily Ye was indeed a suitable candidate. Because I wanted to rely on myself, step by step, I hadn't initially included such a big star on my list of candidates. But since Lily Ye took the initiative to offer, I had no reason to refuse. I said happily, let's discuss the script right away. Lily Ye kindly said, of course I'm at ease. According to rumors, actress Ye was an ice queen beauty. But it all seemed to be just rumors. Wasn't she very friendly? With Lily Ye as the lead star, this small-budget web drama could be said to be star-studded. The filming period was very short, airing after 3 weeks, immediately topping the charts and becoming a hit. I had also smoothly gained fame, becoming a sought-after screenwriter. After gaining fame, my mindset remained unchanged. I began preparing my second script. This time, the script wasn't even finished, yet actors wanting roles came to recommend themselves in droves. I couldn't manage them all, and had to rely on my assistant. But even when I went out, I still encountered many coincidental meetings. One day, I went out for my morning run. A minor star with an alluring figure and captivating curves fell in front of me. Screenwriter Scott, what a coincidence. I twisted my ankle. Can you help me a bit? Before I could even open my mouth, I saw a slender figure reach out and pull the minor star out. If you need many people to help you, you can find me. Don't bother my boyfriend. Lily Ye said with cold eyes and a half-smile. I'm sorry, I didn't know you too. I'm sorry. The minor star's face flushed, and her ankle wasn't twisted anymore. She ran faster than a rabbit. Thank you for your help, this said. EA and I are not boyfriend and girlfriend, so she must have just helped out casually. After working together, I had fully realized that she was a very good person, beautiful, perfect, needless to say, and also kind, gentle, and patient. In short, being with her was not only pleasing to the eye but also made one feel comfortable and natural. Lily Ye smiled nonchalantly, helping my fiance is what I should do. I was completely dumbfounded. At Lily Ye's suggestion, we returned to the Scots' house together. The Scots stammered, but couldn't hide their excitement. When you two were little, the Ye family and us were neighbors. You two played very well together, and we really couldn't resist betrothed you to each other when you were young. Later, the Ye family went abroad to develop. We also know that young people now prefer to find their own partners, so we didn't dare to mention this. It was then that I remembered that I actually had a childhood playmate. That playmate looked very delicate, very cute, like a Barbie doll. I never expected it to be Lily Ye. Looking closely, her facial features were indeed still similar, just fully grown up, transforming from adorable to breathtakingly beautiful. Mr. Scott carefully said, "Now it's out." "Oh, what's out, Grandpa?" "That sounds bad." Mrs. Scott corrected him. "Now that it's a reality, you two should consider it." I was speechless. A reality also didn't sound very good, and it was very inappropriate. After all, everything between Lily Ye and me was very pure. Mr. and Mrs. Scott. Ethan just found out too. If you permit, I'd like to officially pursue him. You're too polite, Lily. Just be natural. How can we let the girl be so proactive? Ethan, you also have to put in effort. Seeing the Scott's complete support and the sincerity in Lily Ye's eyes, I only thought of one question. What was your reason for deciding to act in my short film? Lily Ye immediately became serious. Absolutely conquered by your talent. Considering Lily Ye's understanding of the script and her suitability for the role, I chose to believe her, and my heart immediately felt at ease. After being approved by the Scots, Lily Ye began to pursue me and wanted the whole world to know about her love. I couldn't help but remember that Vivian and I were clearly married, but couldn't go public for 5 years. It turns out that someone who truly loves you will be eager to love you openly under the sun. Lily Ye gradually moved me. I thought for a moment, and told her all about my experiences in the other world. There was no reason to hide my emotional history when someone was treating me so well. If she minded, I would have understood, but Lily Ye didn't mind at all. Only her eyes were full of sorrow. Sorrow for the days I was hurt, and she couldn't be by my side. Fortunately, we still have a future. Can you give me this chance to be by your side? I smiled sincerely. I held her hand. In our careers, we were a perfect match. Every short film we collaborated on became a sensation. Our first collaborative feature film achieved historical success in cinema. It turns out that a good relationship is like this, supporting each other and growing together. At the film's wrap party, I publicly proposed to Lily Ye, and she smiled and accepted. That day, the trending topics were filled with blessings for us. Our love, from the very beginning, was openly sweet and radiant under the sun. Both families were preparing for the wedding. The system, which hadn't appeared for a long time, suddenly contacted me. I apologize, Master. Vivian has developed a way to contact me, requesting your return. Can you go and clarify things with Vivian? To make her give up. My first reaction was to refuse. The name Vivian was like a world away to me. I completely didn't want any further connection with her. But the system then presented 2 reasons, asking me to return. One was that Vivian's affection rating reached 100, which enabled my wish, making me a healthy person. A karmic bond had formed between Vivian and me, and even if it was just to repay that karma, I should go back once. Otherwise, it could affect my life in the real world. The other was the system's plea for my help. Because if I didn't go back, with Vivian's current rate of development, she might, in her furious shame, find a way to destroy the system. In that case, the system might be finished. I didn't hide the system's contact from my parents, and Lily Ye. I thought about it, and both logically and emotionally I should go one more time. The Scots and Lily Ye also understood the reasoning, but they were still uneasy about me going alone. They proposed going with me. Initially, the system, of course, disagreed, but then couldn't resist the overwhelming offers they made. After reporting to its superiors, it agreed to their requests, and moreover, because they had activated a new function with their superpowers, all 4 of us could bring everything from the real world and enter Vivian's world together. This time, they would be by my side. Vivian could no longer believe their Ethan. Vivian, can you be a bit more rational? Now you just spend money every day, researching something called the system. If this continues, our family business won't be able to withstand your destruction. That's right, the current family situation means we should still cultivate some relationships to see if we can resolve the crisis. The Scott and Ye families are still developing abroad. This time they're returning to the country to get married, and have sent us invitations. Take this opportunity to socialize with them. The Jiangs advised earnestly, placing an invitation in front of Vivian. But Vivian merely glanced at the invitation indifferently, her usually expressionless face instantly showing a hint of anger. The groom's name is Ethan Scott. He shouldn't have the same name as my husband. Tell him to change it quickly, he doesn't deserve it. Mr. Jiang almost laughed from anger. If he doesn't deserve it, who does? He's the sole heir of the prestigious Scott family. If we were lucky enough to form a marriage alliance with them, I'd wake up laughing in my dreams. It's a pity you don't have that luck, but Vivian stubbornly said. No one compares to my husband. The Jiangs were almost choked with anger. They were both Scots and even shared the same name, but the Ethan Vivian liked couldn't be shown off at all. Well, that's just how it is. He didn't help the Jiang family at all when he was alive. After he died, he has bewildered our daughter. Even with the Jiang family's wealth, we're almost ruined. Vivian, I don't care what you think. In short, you must go. Mr. Jiang raised his voice, then delivered a final ultimatum. If you still don't care about the Jiang family, this old man will just have to take back control. You reconsider. Mrs. Jiang also helplessly said, Vivian, listen to your father. We're all doing this for your own good. Think carefully. After using both soft and hard tactics, the Jiangs sighed and left. Vivian seemed not to have heard. The invitation was even casually tossed aside. She only thought about contacting the system. The system had said it would help her make contact. She was eagerly awaiting the results. Returning to this world, I couldn't help but recall the unhappy past. Fortunately, having my family and Lilia by my side greatly alleviated my worries. I liked sports, so Lilia went hiking with me, standing on the mountain top, enjoying the wind and the beautiful scenery below. And after watching the sunset, my mood was much lighter. Lilia and I chatted and laughed as we descended the mountain. Assistant Chen, who had just finished offering incense halfway up the mountain, took a few steps and then froze in terror. He saw me, the person he had indirectly caused to die. That year, he frequently had nightmares, dreaming of me covered in blood, my eyes also full of blood and tears, questioning him why he lured me to the private room. Why did he slander me? It was terrifying enough. Vivian even kept the ice coffin at home. Every time he went to report on work, he was terrified. So Assistant Chen, being superstitious, prayed to gods and worshipped Buddha, only hoping I wouldn't come back to haunt him. He never thought he would see me alive again in this lifetime. Assistant Chen stared wide-eyed in disbelief, thinking that people could look alike, and he must be mistaken, but the more he looked, the more he saw that it was indeed me. He even heard the woman next to me call me Ethan. There's no way it could be such a coincidence. It wasn't until Lily Yai and I left that Assistant Chen realized his legs had turned to jelly. He returned home agitated but continued to have nightmares. After much hesitation, he finally decided to tell Vivian about it. He said he saw someone identical to Ethan, and the person next to him even called him Ethan. Vivian became excited. She suddenly remembered that invitation. Although the temperature in the living room was below zero, just thinking that her Ethan might have returned, her heart uncontrollably warmed up. The wedding invitation was for a week later, at the Scott family villa. Vivian didn't hesitate, and immediately set off. She wanted to confirm if this was truly her Ethan. If it was him, she would spare no expense to win him back, not letting him marry someone else. At the Scott family villa, the Scotts were animatedly discussing. That Jian girl dared to hurt our Ethan like that before. Don't let us see her, or we'll definitely beat her up. But then again, she also indirectly helped Ethan. If it weren't for her affection rating, Ethan wouldn't have regained his health. Can we really hit her? Just hit her first. Let's deal with one thing at a time. If she wants to express gratitude, she can apologize and compensate us later. Anyway, we have to avenge Ethan. That makes sense, husband, you're so smart. Lily Yai and I, holding hands on the sofa nearby, couldn't help but smile. They had grown accustomed to the Scots' quirky way of thinking. Unfortunately, Vivian's arrival disrupted this warm and cheerful atmosphere. Vivian anxiously followed a servant through the door and immediately saw me. The corners of her eyes uncontrollably reddened. She choked back tears, her voice trembling as she called out, Ethan, you're finally back. Then she saw my hand and Lilia's clasped tightly. Let go of Ethan. He's my husband. Let go of him. Vivian shrieked, her eyes full of jealous rage. The Scots, already itching to confront her, couldn't hold back anymore. Both of them rushed forward. You dare to bully our Ethan. This slap is well deserved, and this one too, to teach you a lesson. Vivian was stunned. After realizing who they were, she didn't dodge anymore. She showed a slightly submissive expression, even actively presenting her face. Parents-in-law, it's all my fault. I've deeply regretted it this past time. Hit me as much as you want. After you've vented your anger, please persuade Ethan to come back to me, okay? I will definitely treat him exponentially better in the future. Since she willingly offered her face to be hit, The Scots didn't hold back, giving her a good beating, then seeing her face swollen. Mr. Scott then said, "Parents-in-law, don't just call us that indiscriminately. Shut up. Our Ethan is about to get married. Our daughter-in-law isn't you." A look of pain flashed in Vivian's eyes. Ever since she knew I wasn't from this world, she had imagined countless possibilities, and of course she had thought of the day they would meet. I would have someone else by my side. But she had worked so hard for so long, paid such a high price, how could she retreat because of such a small obstacle? Thinking of this, Vivian suppressed the bitterness in her heart, and looked at me with deep affection. "Ethan, I know I hurt you. But you should also know that I truly loved you. My love for you is 100. I did those things because I was sick, I was hurt by Arthur, and I became afraid to trust in love. That's why I wanted to test your love for me. But the moment you left, I realized how much I cared about you. It turns out you could heal my sickness. Please forgive me. Please give me a chance to make amends." She spoke sincerely, but I remained indifferent. "No," they said calmly. "Vivian, your illness wasn't caused by me. You hurt me, and now you want me to cure your illness. What am I, Madison? A drug to lead you back? Don't be unreasonable." Vivian was stunned. I had never spoken to her like that before. I used to be a bit melancholy, introverted, quiet, and obedient. Now, I looked much happier. I had changed, but Vivian found me even more captivating this way. "That's right, I'm not asking you to help me cure my illness," Vivian hastily explained. "Ethan, I just want you to come back to me, to make amends to you properly. You like acting, from now on, whatever resources you want. Just choose. Last time I owed you a script. In the future, I'll buy you many better scripts for you." "No need, Vivian. A debt is a debt. That was a script I wrote myself. There's nothing better, and nothing can replace it." "Then I'll give you back the script. I've read the script. It's full of your feelings for me. I know you have feelings for me. That's the past, and I want to rewrite the script myself." If the system hadn't told me to persuade Vivian to give up, I wouldn't have bothered to say so many words to her, but Vivian became annoyed. She had clearly humbled herself so much, yet I remained so cold. Her usual arrogance gradually faded into impatience, turning into anger. "Ethan, I made a mistake, and I have apologized very sincerely, wanting to make amends to you. You clearly made mistakes too, but I'm not holding anything against you, so why won't you give me a chance?" I was stunned. What mistake did I make? At that time, you and Arthur were just putting on an act, but I didn't know, so I was jealous of him, frequently mocked and ridiculed him, even pushed him down, and even found someone to hit him. Weren't these things too much? "Ethan, do you know? You left, and I had to stay and clean up the mess. I clearly wanted to take revenge on Arthur, but because I owed him, I could only endure humiliation and atone for you. I sacrificed so much for you. Do you truly have no remorse? No emotion?" Vivian's seemingly reasonable criticisms made me feel ridiculous. It turns out her so-called longing, her so-called regret, lacked such sincerity. She claimed to love me but never truly understood or trusted me. And after hearing Vivian's firm words, the Scots and Lilia didn't even need to think before siding with me. "You brat. Our Ethan would never do such a thing. You don't even have basic trust in him. You're completely unworthy of talking about love. Ethan is upright and honorable, he wouldn't stoop to such things. Do you have water in your brain?" With my family's support, I felt warmth in my heart. "Vivian, I never did anything to harm Arthur. It was all him. He twisted the facts. I never pushed him. He framed me. That time in the private room, that man was also colluding with him. Believe it or not, it's up to you." Seeing my calm expression, Vivian seemed frozen. Her intuition told her I was speaking the truth. Looking at how my family trusted me unconditionally, then thinking about what she had just said, a sudden wave of shame and anxiety washed over her. She vaguely knew why I wouldn't forgive her. She just didn't want to face it. "I believe you, Ethan. I believe what you say." To dispel the confusion in her heart, Vivian hastily declared, "I will make those who hurt you pay." With that, she hurriedly left. The wedding was still a week away. It's not too late. Definitely not too late. She would show me her sincerity first, then continue to win me back. There must still be a chance. After Vivian returned, she immediately began to investigate. The truth was cruel. Arthur had been colluding with Assistant Chen, her assistant, for a long time. Everything I said was true. Arthur was dragged in by bodyguards. Vivian squeezed his neck. "You really are like father, like son. If you like such dirty tricks, then enjoy them yourself." All the suffering I had endured, she made Arthur suffer double. Arthur's parents initially tried to intervene. Vivian sneered, since you two also hurt Ethan by haven't settled accounts with you yet." The two immediately fell silent, exchanged glances, and then sneaked out. They heard I had returned and decided to go find their good son. "We heard you're still alive. We're here. Good boy. We really missed you during the days you were gone. It's good that you're okay." Arthur's parents burst into the Scott family home, displaying fawning expressions, constantly calling me son in a very affectionate tone. My parents were furious. This is their son, okay. But Arthur's parents were thick-skinned and insisted on claiming me as their son. I chuckled. "You weren't like this before. You only liked Arthur, and now that you can't rely on him, you think of me, right?" Arthur's parents vehemently denied it. "No, we really like you. We were just a bit strict with you. There are no bad parents in the world. Don't ignore us. Vivian said we treated you badly and wants to take revenge on us. Only you can stop her." So that's how it was. It turns out they were still rushing to me for their own sake. I was very curious. "Why did you treat me like that before?" I asked this question on behalf of the original owner. When I first came to this world, I lost some of the original owner's memories until the moment I jumped, when everything came back. In fact, when the original owner was young, these parents weren't so outrageous. They were clearly fair to the original owner and Arthur, neither good nor bad. But after returning from an outing, they suddenly changed their attitude. From then on, only being good to Arthur. They became increasingly bad to the original owner. Whatever the original owner did, they were dissatisfied, would find fault, and punish him severely. At that time, Arthur went abroad, and Arthur's parents missed their beloved son, so they said the original owner was a jinx, cursing his brother. They locked the original owner up, not giving him food or drink. They punished him for 3 days. When the original owner weakly begged for a sip of water, these parents angrily found many insects and forced them into the original owner's mouth, suffocating him to death, which is how I got the chance to transmigrate. How tragic to be abused to death by one's own parents. How could they treat their child like that? What deep hatred could there be? They owed the original owner an explanation. Arthur's parents hesitated for a moment, then chose to be honest. "We were also helpless. When you were very young, we went to a fortune teller once. The master said you were sure, lived and would implicate the whole family. He also said Arthur had a good fate and would bring prosperity. I never expected such a ridiculous reason. Ethan, we were truly helpless. Can you forgive us? We will definitely compensate you twofold in the future." But Arthur's parents' vows only made me laugh. The biological child they needed to compensate most had been killed by them long ago. No one had the right to forgive on his behalf. And I completely didn't want to manage such selfish and heartless people. If Vivian wanted to deal with them, all the better. They owed the original owner too much. They deserved to be punished. After venting her anger, Vivian ordered someone to take Arthur and his parents, along with Assistant Chen, and put them all in jail, also instructing them to ensure they would live a life worse than death in there. Assistant Chen initially pleaded endlessly. "Director Jian, I was just temporarily deluded. Considering I followed you for so long, please spare me this one time." But in Vivian's eyes, there was only coldness. I said that those who make mistakes must be punished. Assistant Chen began to break down. "Those who make mistakes must be punished. But Director Jian, if you hadn't always protected Arthur, treating your own husband so indifferently, would I have sided with the wrong person? You say we're at fault. Aren't you at fault too? You should also be punished." Assistant Chen, losing control, was dragged away by bodyguards, but Vivian was silent for a long time, feeling a pang in her heart. This man was right. The suffering I had to endure, she was completely inescapable from guilt. She was the biggest accomplice, so she too was punished. I had fallen in love with someone else. Li Ye and I were a perfect match in terms of background. The Scott and Ye families were both more powerful than the Jian family. She wanted to stop it but was powerless. After repeatedly seeking me out and being rejected again and again, Vivian's eyes grew colder. She had clearly worked so hard for so long, even causing me to return to this world. She was unwilling, and even more unwilling to see me marry someone else. If she couldn't have me, then she'd rather no one could. Thinking of this, Vivian lowered her eyes, coldly making a decision. Very soon, the day of my wedding to Lily arrived. According to the original plan, they would get married in this world. Vivian knew she no longer had a chance and might give up. However, a slight problem occurred. "Master, we've detected that Vivian has started to blacken. She has developed a method to interfere with the system. She wants to destroy this entire world. Damn it, she might end up destroying me. How about I take everyone back before that happens?" The system's usually robotic and stable voice seemed to carry a hint of desperate nausea. Just then, a servant said Vivian was outside, wanting to see me one last time. I agreed and told the system, "Don't rush, let me try one more time." The Scots and Lily were uneasy and wanted to go with me. "Don't worry, I can only persuade her if I go alone. I promise everyone I'll be quick." Seeing me appear outside the door, Vivian's eyes lit up. "Ethan, you're still willing to see me on your wedding day. That means I still have a chance, right?" She had decided to make one last effort. If I still refused, she would make the whole world perish along with their love. I didn't answer her question but calmly asked, "Do you think, during our long time together, I owed you anything?" Vivian thought for a moment and shook her head. On the contrary, my question made her recall many things. Being saved upon first meeting, my almost worshipful gaze towards her. Every time I looked at her, there was a light in my eyes. She said to have a secret marriage, and I agreed. She told me to give up resources, and though I felt wronged, I always conceded. What did I owe her? I had once loved her with all my heart, holding nothing back. Seeing Vivian sigh, I asked again, "Then what about you towards me? Do you owe anything?" In Vivian's eyes was sincere remorse. "I will make amends." I suddenly looked at her very seriously, smiling faintly. "If you truly want to make amends, then let go." Vivian instinctively shook her head. "No, Ethan, I love you, I can't let go." But truly loving someone means wishing for their happiness. My voice was gentle and patient, carrying a hint of urgency. "Before, I thought you liked Arthur. I didn't pursue the harm you caused, I just chose to leave, deciding to let you two be together. Now I've found my own happiness, and it's time for you to let go. Vivian, please let go. Letting go is the best way to make amends to me." My words flowed like a gentle stream, but they struck Vivian's heart. She listened blankly, her soul seemingly drained. I didn't urge her, just waited silently. This made Vivian remember the past. Vivian clearly didn't want to lose me, but looking into my clear, watery eyes, which also held a hint of expectation, the anger in her heart vanished unknowingly. Vivian finally realized that she couldn't be so heartless. She truly couldn't hurt me anymore. In her heart, a voice seemed to tell her that she had owed me too much, made me wait too many times. This time, don't disappoint me again. An indescribable bitterness spread through her heart. Vivian finally understood that once some people are lost, they truly cannot be restarted. After a long while, she said in a trembling voice, "I won't bless you, but I will let go." I breathed a sigh of relief, sincerely saying, "Thank you." As if tormenting herself, Vivian still attended my wedding. If only she had known earlier, she should have made our marriage public, should have let everyone know that he was her husband. If she had done that then, would the outcome have been different? Alas, it was all too late. The moment Lily and I exchanged rings and kissed, Vivian painfully closed her eyes, her shattered heart almost dying. But when she opened her eyes again, everything before her had vanished. This place became a desolate land awaiting development. As I left, the system said, "I have protected the mini-world. You can make a wish related to the mini-world." I thought for a moment and said, "Then I hope the Ethan Scott of that world can be born into a family with loving parents in his next life and live a happy, joyful life." After the system agreed, a small light appeared before me, spinning and spinning. The system acted as a translator. "Master is thanking you." I smiled and said, "It's nothing." Although they wouldn't be in the same world later, they would all have a good future. Vivian returned home in a daze, about to change into winter clothes, but found that the room temperature had returned to normal. Her heart clenched. She quickly went to the place where the ice coffin had been, but it was empty. She sank to the ground in a stupor. In that moment, she understood, she had truly lost me. In the following days, Vivian worked tirelessly like a machine. She put the Jian group back on track, but every night she was filled with longing, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. In so much pain she didn't want to live, quickly becoming emaciated. Vivian truly couldn't bear it anymore and contacted the system again. "I want to see him. I'm willing to spend all my assets, as long as you agree to let me go to his world. Please, I promise not to disturb him. Just being able to see him is enough." Vivian pleaded abjectly. The system regretfully told her, "I'm sorry, Ethan Scott is my master. I've asked him about this, and he doesn't want you to go there." Vivian didn't give up, continuously asking the system for other ways. Finally, the system reluctantly told her there was one other way. If she absolutely insisted on entering a strange world, it could only be in a non-human form. The system thought Vivian would back down, knowing the difficulty. Who knew her dull eyes suddenly lit up. Okay, I agree. Please take me immediately. The system almost crashed. Vivian must truly love me. She was willing to give up her vast career, even willing to give up her human identity. But before, she clearly had the chance to love me and be together for life. Why wait until she lost me to plead in such a humiliating way for a love that would never return? Human emotions are truly complex. The system found it difficult to understand, but it kept its word and transported Vivian. After marrying, besides work and spending time with family, Lily Yite and I created romantic memories all over the world. One day we went to the beach, and I discovered a furry lump washed ashore by the waves. It turned out to be a dying puppy. I immediately picked it up to rescue it. The puppy quickly recovered and became my little shadow ever since. As long as it was by my side, it always looked content, grinning adorably and healing. It followed me everywhere. Whether I was at home or at work, it was always by my side. The only thing was, whenever I changed clothes, it would immediately turn its head away, covering its eyes with its paws. I couldn't help but laugh. Sometimes I even felt it was as strange as a human. The polite dog grew day by day. I thought it could stay by my side for a long time. Who knew that not long after, one night, I was holding a script, filming a street scene, and encountered something falling from a height. Seeing that I was about to be crushed, in that dangerous moment, the dog pushed me away, and it was crushed to death. In a daze, Vivian heard the system's voice in her ear. You have helped Ethan Scott overcome the final hurdle. From now on, his life will be smooth sailing. Vivian was covered in blood, in immense pain, but her heart was filled with satisfaction and joy. Last time, she couldn't save me, only watching me fall before her eyes. Fortunately, this time, she protected me. Before losing consciousness, Vivian felt her cheek wet. She used her last bit of strength to open her eyes, and found that I was crying for her. She struggled to hold on, as countless times in the past, and gave a healing smile. To be by my side always, to protect me, and finally to receive my sincere tears. Her life in this world was worth it. Vivian closed her eyes contentedly. From now on, she would no longer see the bright moon and stars in the sky, but the most important star in her life would be safe and sound.